Greetings and welcome back. This is the Q&A section of section 19. Feed me with some good coax. Which of the following is common use of coax cable? Carrying RF signal between the radio and antenna. Why is coax cable used more often than any other feed line for amateur radio antenna systems? It's easy to use and requires few special installation considerations, unlike ladder line. Ladder line, you can't get it near any type of metal, and there's a lot of considerations that you have to do. But coax is very easy to use. What is the impedance of most commonly used coax cable in a typical amateur radio installation? 50 ohms. What generally happens as the frequency of the signal passes through the coax is increased. The loss increases. As frequency goes up, your loss goes up. Which of the following is true of a PL259 type coax connector? They're commonly used at HF frequencies. Anything from up to 200 megahertz is PL259 is good up to. Anything beyond that, you need to use an N. Which of the following connectors is most suitable for frequencies above 400 megahertz? The type N connector. What is the disadvantage of air core coaxial cable when compared to foam or solid dielectric types? It requires special techniques to prevent water absorption. Which of the following is most commonly cause for failure of coax cables? Moisture contamination. Why should coax connectors be exposed to weather be sealed against water intrusion? To prevent an increase of feedline loss. Why should the outer jacket of a coax cable be resistant to ultraviolet light? Ultraviolet light can damage the jacket and allow water to enter the cable. Why is the electrical difference between the small RG58 and the larger RG8 coax cable? RG8 cable has less loss at a given frequency. Which of the following types of feed line has the lowest loss at VHF and UHF? Air insulated hardline. Which of the following instruments can be used to determine if an antenna is resonant at the desired operating frequency? You can use an antenna analyzer. What in general terms is standing wave ratio? The measurement of how well the load is matched to the transmission line. Where should an inline SWI meter be connected to monitor the standing waves of radio of the station antenna system? You want it in series with the feed line between the transmitter and the antenna. Why is it important to have a low SWR in the antenna system that uses coaxial feed line? To allow the efficient transfer of power and reduce loss. What is the reading on SWI meter indicates a perfect impedance match between the antenna and the feed line? 1 to 1. What is the approximate SWI value above which protection circuits in most solid state transmitter begin to reduce transmitter power? 2 to 1. What does an SW reading of 4 to 1 mean? There's an impedance mismatch. Big time. What might cause erratic changes in SWI readings? A loose connection in the antenna or a feed line. What instrument other than the SWI meter could you use to determine if the feed line and antenna are properly matched? A directional watt meter. What happens if the power what happens to the power lost in a feed line? It gets converted to heat. What does an antenna tuner do? It matches the antenna system impedance to the transceiver output impedance. What is the primary purpose of a dummy load? To prevent the radiation of signals when making a test. What does a dummy load consist of? A non-inductive resistor and a heatsink. And that's the end of the Q&A section. Feed me with some good coax.